Good evening, everybody. Just jumping on here to do a quick session of wastewater terminology. We have went from A all the way to H, and now we're going to start with I, and I want to go to M, but we'll see. But yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right on into this. If you hear any background noise, my noise or audio quality is not the greatest, but I'm learning as I go and wanting to put out these audio flashcards for people to use and to help them to study for exams, especially for my Indiana people that want to become a wastewater operator. Just doing these kind of sessions to kind of drill it in for them so that they can become successful at passing their exam or just to learn about wastewater in general. So we're going to start with the IDLH, which is immediately dangerous to life or health. The atmospheric concentration of any toxic, corrosive, or asphyxiant substance that poses an immediate threat to life or would cause irreversible or delayed adverse health effects or would interfere with an individual's ability to escape from a dangerous atmosphere. So this would be like especially for any kind of people that use chlorine as a disinfectant. I believe I think at 10 parts per million or 10 ppm, if I'm not mistaken, then it is immediately dangerous to life and health. I might be wrong on that. I might not have that number right, but I know that a certain amount of parts per million in chlorine leak, that when it gets out, it's immediately dangerous to life or health. After a few short breaths, it can kill you. So that's what would have this type of definition. That's what it would describe. I-M cone, a clear cone-shaped container marked with graduations. The cone is used to measure the volume of settable solids in a specific volume, usually 1 liter, of water or wastewater. An I-M cone. Impeller, a rotating set of vanes in a pump or compressor designed to pump or move water or air. An impeller pump, any pump in which the water is moved by the continuous application of power to a rotating set of vanes from some rotating mechanical source. Incineration, the conversion of dewatered wastewater solids by combustion or burning to ash, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. Incineration. Indicator. It can have 2 definitions to it, but the first is a chemical indicator. Is a substance that gives a visible change, usually of color, at a desired point in a chemical reaction, generally at a specified endpoint. So that's like when you're titrating in the lab and you are doing a certain titration on maybe something for pH, maybe something for on the drinking water side, like for hardness or calcium or something like that, or if you're doing a dissolved oxygen test or something to that effect, where whatever you're doing when you're titrating that, when you're doing that chemical reaction, it'll give a different color, and it'll generally be at a specified endpoint of the chemical reaction. So, and that's one thing of an indicator. And the second thing is an instrument indicator, which is a device that indicates the result of a measurement, usually using either a fixed scale and moving indicator or a pointer, such as a pressure gauge, or a moving chart with a movable pen, like those used on a circular flow recording chart, also called a receiver. Indole, an organic compound which is got a chemical, the chemical compound is C8H7N, containing nitrogen that has an ammonia odor. Indole. Infiltration, the seepage of groundwater into a sewer system, including service connections. Seepage frequently occurs through defective or cracked pipes, pipe joints, connections, interceptor access risers and covers, or manhole walls. So, infiltration is when you have groundwater that is seeping into the collection system or through the sewer system by cracked pipes, pipe joints, or connectors, or anything to where the groundwater can get into the collection system. That is infiltration. And then the next definition goes right along with it. It's inflow, which is water discharged into a sewer system and service connections from sources other than regular connections. This includes flow from yard drains, foundations, and around access and manhole covers. Inflow differs from infiltration in that it is a direct discharge into the sewer rather than a leak in the sewer itself. So, inflow is more like an illegal drain system or something like that. And then storm water gets into the collection system and it can cause problems. So most people call it I. That's what the industry calls it, and it can cause a lot of trouble, especially if you have a combined sewer system. As not something that you really like to see when you have hard rain and heavy rain flows and all that kind of stuff. And then, like I said, if the groundwater's getting in there, then that makes it even worse. So you have those things. Next definition is influent. Water or other liquid, raw, whether it's untreated or partially treated, flowing into a reservoir, basin, treatment process, or a treatment plant. So it flows into something, which is influent. That means it's coming into the plant, coming into a basin, coming into a treatment process. Influent. Inhibitory substances. That is materials that kill or restrict the ability of organisms to treat waste. Next, inoculate. To inoculate something is to introduce a seed culture into a system. Inoculate. Inorganic waste. Waste materials such as sand, salt, iron, calcium, and other mineral materials that are only slightly affected by the action of organisms. Inorganic wastes are chemical substances of mineral origin, whereas organic wastes are chemical substances usually of animal or plant origin. And then you can also look at different other definitions: non-volatile matter, organic waste, or volatile solids, to compare and to contrast all these things. But inorganic waste is more minerals and, your salts, your iron, your calcium, and all that is what an inorganic waste is. So it's not natural, or it's not plant or animal based. Integrator. An integrator is a device or meter that continuously measures and sums a process rate variable in cumulative fashion over a given time period. For example, total flows displayed in gallons per minute, million gallons per day, or cubic feet per second, or some other unit of volume per time period, also called a totalizer. Interface: the common boundary layer between two substances, such as water and a solid or metal, or between two fluids, such as water and a gas, or that could be air, or between liquid and another liquid. Interface. Ionic concentration: the concentration of any ion in solution, usually expressed in moles per liter. Ionization: the splitting or dissociation or separation of molecules into negatively and positively charged ions. And then the next thing about it is the process of adding electrons to or removing electrons from atoms or molecules, thereby creating ions. High temperatures, electrical discharges, and nuclear radiation can cause ionization. Now we're in the J's. Jar test: a laboratory procedure that simulates coagulation, flocculation with differing chemical doses. The purpose of the procedure is to estimate the minimum coagulant dose required to achieve certain water quality goals. Samples of water to be treated are placed in the 6 jars. Various amounts of chemicals are added to each jar, stirred, and the settling of solids is observed. The lowest dose of chemicals that provides satisfactory settling is the dose used to treat the water. Jar test. Jogging: the frequent starting and stopping of an electric motor. Jogging. Joule: a measure of energy, work, or quantity of heat. 1 joule is the work done when the point of application of a force of 1 Newton is displaced in a distance of 1 meter in the direction of the force, approximately equal to 0.7375 feet-pounds, or feet per pounds, and that's a joule. Kjeldahl nitrogen, and that is the nitrogen in the form of organic proteins or their decomposition product ammonia, as measured as the Kjeldahl method or Kjeldahl method. It's a kind of tricky word to say. Now we're going to the L's. Launderers: sedimentation basin and filter discharge channels consisting of overflow weir plates in sedimentation basins and conveying troughs. Launderers. Limit switch: a device that regulates or controls the travel distance of a chain or cable. Lineal: the length in one direction of a line. For example, a board 12 feet or meters long has 12 lineal feet, meters in its length. Liquefaction: the conversion of large solid particles of sludge into very fine particles that either dissolve or remain suspended in wastewater. Loading: quantity of material applied to a device at one time. Next, lower explosive limit, or LEL, the lowest concentration of a gas or vapor in percent by volume in air that explodes if a ignition source is present at ambient temperature. At temperatures above 250 degrees Fahrenheit, the LEL, or the lower explosive limit, decreases because explosibility increases with higher temperature. Lower flammable limit, or LFL, the lowest concentration of a gas or vapor, or the percent by volume in air that burns if an ignition source is present. Lysimeter, a device containing a mass of soil and designed to permit the measurement of water draining through the soil. Now we're on the M's. Molar. A molar solution consists of 1 gram molecular weight of a compound dissolved in enough water to make 1 liter of solution. A gram molecular weight is a molecular weight of a compound in grams. For example, the molecular weight of sulfuric acid, or H2SO4, is 98, and a 1 m solution of sulfuric acid will consist of 98 grams of H2SO4 dissolved in enough distilled water to make it 1 liter of solution. So that's what a molar is. Or it would be sulfuric acid when I said that chemical compound of H2SO4. That's sulfuric acid. MBAS, methylene blue active substance. Another name for surfactants or surface active agents. The determination of surfactants is accomplished by measuring the color change in a standard solution of methylene blue dye. Next, MCRT, mean cell residence time, an expression of the average time in days that a microorganism will spend in the activated sludge process. The formula for it can be done in 2 ways, or calculated in 2 ways. So it would be the MCRT in days equals total suspended solids in activated sludge process in pounds divided by the total suspended solids removed from the process in pounds per day. Or you can calculate it MCRT in days equals the total suspended solids in activated sludge process in kilograms divided by the total suspended solids removed from the process in kilograms per day. Something to note about it is operators at different plants calculate the total suspended solids in the activated sludge process in pounds by 3 different methods. The first is total suspended solids in the aeration basin or reactor zone in pounds. The second way they can do it is the total suspended solids in the aeration basin and secondary clarifier in pounds. And then the third is the total suspended solids in the aeration basin and secondary clarifiers sludge blanket in pounds. These 3 different methods make it difficult to compare the MCRT in days among different plants unless everyone uses the same method. So not every plant is, I guess what it's saying right there, not every plant uses the same method. But if they do, then it makes it easier to calculate if they are using the same method. Milligrams per liter can be written as mg/L, milligrams per liter. Seems like the dogs are barking. I'm very sorry about that. Um, and the NPN. Let's give it a minute. Like I said, excuse me. The sound quality, and I need like an studio. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The MPN, or the most probable number. MPN is the most probable number of coliform group organisms per unit volume of sample water, expressed as a density or population of organisms per 100 milligrams or per 100 milliliters of sample water. MSDS. That's a material safety data sheet, and those sheets are very important whenever you are working at a plant. Everybody should have their MSDS on hand so that people can understand and see what kind of chemicals, what kind of hazards, what kind of things that they're working around to be, compliant with the rules and regulations of a plant. Main sewer is a sewer line that receives wastewater from many tributary branches and sewer lines, and serves as an outlet for a large territory, or is used to feed an intercepting sewer called a trunk sewer. So that's what a main sewer is. Is a trunk sewer. It branches off. These are for many tributary branches and sewer lines, serves as an outlet for a large territory, or is used to feed an intercepting sewer. So, manifold. A large pipe to which the ends of a series of smaller pipes are connected, also called a header. Manifold. Manometer. An instrument for measuring pressure. Usually a manometer is a glass tube filled with a liquid that is used to measure the difference in pressure across a flow measuring device, such as an orifice or a venturi meter. This instrument is used to measure blood pressure. Used to measure blood pressure is a type of manometer. Okay. Didn't know that. So now we're going to keep driving on. Masking agents. Substances used to cover up or disguise unpleasant odors. Liquid masking agents are dripped into the wastewater, sprayed into the air, or evaporated using heat with the unpleasant fumes or odors, and then discharged into the air by blowers to make an undesirable odor less noticeable. Already said material safety data sheets already, what they are. So we'll skip over that one. It's just like some of these definitions in this book, it just is like redundant. Some of them you'll run over them again or run by them again. So mechanical aeration. The use of machinery to mix air and water so that oxygen can be absorbed into the water. Some examples are paddle wheels, mixers, or rotating brushes to agitate the surface of an aeration tank, pumps to create fountains, and pumps to discharge water down a series of steps, forming falls or cascades. Media. The material in a trickling filter on which slime accumulates and organisms grow. As settled wastewater trickles over the media, organisms in the slime remove certain types of waste, thereby partially treating the wastewater. Also, the material in a rotating biological contactor or in a gravity or pressure filter. Median, the middle measurement or value, where several measurements are ranked by magnitude, largest to smallest. Half of the measurements will be larger and half will be smaller. Meg is the abbreviation of megohm, and then it's a procedure used for checking the insulation resistance on motors, feeders, bus bar systems, grounds, and branch circuit wiring. Also see Megger, and that's the next one. It would be an instrument using for checking the insulation resistance on motors, feeders, bus bar systems, ground, and branch circuit wiring. A Megger reads in millions of ohms. So that's what a Megger is. A megohm, and that would be millions of ohms. Mega is a prefix meaning 1 million, so 5 mega ohms means 5 million ohms. A meniscus. A meniscus is the curved surface of a column of liquid, and that could be water, oil, or mercury, in a small tube. When the liquid wets the size of a container, as with the water, the curve forms a valley. When the confining sides are not wetted, as with mercury, the curve forms a hill or upward bulge. So when we're in the laboratory and we get our samples in a graduated cylinder, we want to pour that sample into the graduated cylinder very carefully. And once we do that, like it says, when it's with water, when the sample is a water sample, you want to read the meniscus from the bottom. It's like a curve that goes downward. It forms a valley. So like it swoops down, and then you read the meniscus from the bottom. But when it's with a mercury or something else, it forms a hill and it goes upward. So it's quite different with a mercury sample. Mercaptans is the next definition. Compounds containing sulfur that have an extremely offensive skunk-like odor. Also sometimes described as smelling like garlic or onions. Mercaptans. That's probably not good, and if it's smelling like garlic and onions, that's keep the vampires away, I guess. But we'll keep on driving on. Mesophilic bacteria, and that is medium temperature bacteria, a group of bacteria that grow and thrive in a moderate temperature range between 68 degrees Fahrenheit and 113 degrees Fahrenheit. The optimum temperature range for these bacteria in anaerobic digestion is 85 degrees Fahrenheit to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Metabolism. All of the processes or chemical changes in an organism or a single cell by which food is built up, that's anabolism, into living protoplasm, and which by the protoplasm is broken down, catabolism, is simpler compounds with the exchange of energy. Metabolism. A micron. A micrometer or a micron is a unit of length. 1 millionth of a meter or 1,000th of a millimeter. 1 micron equals 0.000004 of an inch. Micron. Microorganisms. Living organisms that can be seen individually only with the aid of a microscope. Microorganisms. And that is, to note, that is 90 to 95% of the microorganisms in the activated sludge process is bacteria. So that's something that you need to note for that. Um, is the microorganisms? A lot of it is bacteria. Just a side note. But anyway, microscreen, a device with a fabric straining medium with openings usually between 20 and 60 microns. The fabric is wrapped around the outside of a rotating drum. Wastewater enters the opening end of the drum and flows out through the rotating screen cloth. At the highest point of the drum, the collected solids are backwashed by high-pressure water jets into a trough located within the drum. Microscreen. We already said 1 for milligrams per liter, and I already said that. Yeah, but I'll say it again. It's the measure of the concentration by weight of a substance per unit volume in water or wastewater. In reporting the results of water and wastewater analysis, is referred to the unit parts per million, to which it is approximately equivalent. Millimicron, a unit of length equal to 10 or 1,000 of a micron, and then 10 to minus 6 to the 6th power millimeters, or 10 minus 9 meters, correctly called a nanometer. I probably butchered all that because I'm not very good at math, but that's what a millimicron is. If you got any more questions about it, I'll look it up and study it. Mixed liquor. When the activated sludge is in an aeration tank, is mixed with primary effluent or the raw wastewater and return sludge. This mixture is then referred to as mixed liquor as long as it is in an aeration tank. Mixed liquor also may refer to the contents of mixed aerobic or anaerobic digesters. Take a drink, but yeah, mixed liquor, that's what that is. Mixed liquor suspended solids, or MLSS, is the amount in milligrams per liter of suspended solids in the mixed liquor of an aeration tank. Mixed liquor volatile suspended solids, or MLVSS. That is the amount in milligrams per liter of organic or volatile suspended solids in the mixed liquor of an aeration tank. The volatile portion is used as a measure or an indicator of the microorganisms present. So that's what mixed liquor volatile suspended solids is. Molarity, a measure of concentration defined as the number of moles of solute per liter of solution. Molarity. A mole, the name for a quantity of a chemical substance whose mass in grams is numerically equal to its atomic weight. 1 mole equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd power molecules or atoms. That's what a mole is. Molecular oxygen, the oxygen molecule O2 that is not combined with another element to form a compound. And then the next thing is molecular weight. The molecular weight of a compound in grams per mole is the sum of the atomic weights of the elements in the compound. The molecular weight of sulfuric acid in grams is 98. So that's what the molecular weight of sulfuric acid is, but um, it'll be the sum of the atomic weights of the elements in the compound. Its molecular weight. Molecule. The smallest division of a compound that still retains or exhibits all the properties of the substance. Molecule. Motile. Capable of self-propelled movement, a term that is sometimes used to distinguish between certain types of organisms found in water. A moving average. A moving average is to calculate the moving average for the last 7 days. Add up the values for the last 7 days and divide by 7. Each day add the most recent day's value to the sums of values and subtract the oldest value. By using the 7-day moving average, each day of the week is always represented in the calculations. So that's what the moving average is. A muffle furnace. That is a small oven capable of reaching temperatures up to 600 degrees Celsius, or that would be 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit. Muffle furnaces are used in laboratories for burning or incinerating samples to determine the amounts of volatile solids and or fixed solids in samples of wastewater. So that is a very important test. They will test on that. Something to be aware of. Obviously I cannot give an exact question or anything like that, but things like this, especially with the different types of laboratory tests, you want to be well versed when you go take your exam on laboratory stuff, because they will ask you different types of questions, and that could be a test question. The degrees, how much the furnace needs to be heated up to, or how much it goes up to, and all that kind of stuff. So you definitely want to be well prepared. And then finally, for this session, is a multi-stage pump. And that is a pump that has more than one impeller. A single stage pump has one impeller. So if it's a multi-stage, there's more than one impeller in that pump. And those are some of the good things. This is almost 40 minutes of good material for you to take in, to soak it in, and to learn about it. If it's anything that seems fuzzy or that you need help on, there's plenty of other people out there. Look on YouTube for the wastewater enthusiast, Sean Powell. He has a very good YouTube channel that deals with a lot of wastewater testing and wastewater exam prep. Operator Mindset, Matt Scroggins. He's another guy that has a lot of good things on wastewater studying and testing, and different types of videos that break things down, the processes and all those things. So you might want to check those out. But yeah, these things on this terminology that I'm doing, I'm just want to pay it forward to you guys and gals and women as well that want to just up your skills and learn. And especially here in the state of Indiana, I was very fortunate enough to obtain my groundwater, my WT3 groundwater license and water treatment. And I also was able to just now recently, here in the past few weeks, I just passed my Class 1 wastewater exam as well. So just want to help people out and give back, because that's what it's all about. Well, I hope you all have a great, rest of your week. and continue on and continue to drive on and do great things. And I will continue to put out shows as much as possible. And thank you. And y'all have a great night.